Hi everyone, I am Rebecca from ChemKnits and welcome to the behind the scenes vlog of the 2024 ChemKnits Chanukah special. Chanukah actually starts 1 week from today, which means I am very ahead of schedule, and I'm really excited to take you through a lot of my thought process as I'm working on the Chanukah Yarn colorways that I featured each night, the extras that go into the package. I think in a moment I'm going to start with the design of this year's card, and well, I want to take you along for the whole journey. And I'm filming this vertical, which feels weird, but I wanted to pop up some images alongside me to get us started and get you excited to know what I'll be chatting about. But also, before we jump in, there is still some Chanukah yarn available in the ChemKnits Creations Etsy shop. We have mini skein samplers. There are full skeins from some of the nights of Chanukah and more. So if you want to pause the video, head over to the ChemKnits Creations Etsy shop. There'll be a link down in the video description. But now let's go back in time to, goodness, the summer? Fall? I'll pop the dates up on the screen so we know when I'm talking about. I feel like it wouldn't be a ChemKnits behind the scenes vlog if I didn't say I don't know how much I filmed yet this year. It is the beginning of September 2024. It's the first day of school for my kids, which is super exciting. And I am in full swing getting the finished touches planned. And I figured for part of that, I need to figure out what I'm doing with this year's card. Mainly because I need to figure out if I'm going to be making the card myself with my Cricut, or if I want to commission an art and see if I get an idea in mind to that way have something custom printed. So those are really the two options for the holiday card that I include in these packages. But since last year I had something printed, I really want to make one this year, and so I wanted to include a menorah, and there's a style I like to use with two different colors of paper when I'm doing a bunch of cards. And so I realized that I should draw the menorah myself. So here I am, poor filming, but I'm attempting to sketch out a non-perfect, organic feeling menorah. And my thought is that after I draw this, I'll scan it into my computer and then turn it into a Cricut file. So we'll see if this works. I really hope it works. And I'm feeling optimistic. So right now I just finished drawing it, and I did that without any voiceover or anything. And I like what I ended up with. So I'm gonna go play around in the software and we'll see where we end up. The only other thing related to Chanukah that's really funny right now is that since it's the beginning of September, I was doing a Patreon poll where my ChemKnits patrons pick the theme for next month's Die Pop PS video. And as I was going to make a list of ideas that were things on my to-do list and videos that I've been meaning to make a while but haven't, I kept starting to put things on the list and then realized, nope, I want to do that for a Chanukah video. And so that was really fun that I have some inspiration already, but we also have a lot of time, and yeah, I don't have a full color plan yet, but I have most of the yarn and most of the extras, so we're in good shape. I just want to have a good sense of what the cost of this year's theme will be, so that way I can go ahead and get everything else ready to go. I'm pretty happy with this. It worked really, really well. And here are my scanned versions that you watched me draw, kind of. And so I don't know if you guys would ever be interested in me doing some kind of short about how I might take a drawing like this and turning it into a cut file like this. But I could. It's really, really simple. But anyway, now I have something that I can work on turning into our card. And so I'm really happy because sometimes if I don't have a vision yet, I get stressed. And this happened very organically, and Indy's barking and the kids are about to get home from school. So, woohoo! Editing Rebecca here. At this point, I decided to just go mostly chronological through everything. So I'll probably show making the card later on. At the very least, I'll be showing you the finished card later on. Yeah, I think because of the way that I'm thinking about things as we go on, we'll just stick with chronological order versus trying to group different things together. It's September 12th, and I'm gonna get ready to partition the mini skeins. I'm frustrated because I still haven't launched because the rest of my yarn isn't here. And I don't want to launch on a Friday night or Saturday because if someone is interested in getting a sampler and is observant of Shabbat, it's not really fair. So I think that I'm gonna have to launch on Sunday or Monday, and I really wanted to launch this week, so I'm bummed. But let's get some of this nervous energy out of my system and I'll work on sorting the yarn. The DK minis are first, and I'm gonna need 2 bags in each of the boxes. Okay, I'm feeling really confused right now because why is that all I have left? Did I miscount? And I have 9 boxes set up. One of them is for full skein or 20 gram minis, but let me go see. I think I have overflow somewhere. I'm starting to panic. Wait, were they right here all along? Well, that was me being dramatic. I think at one point I had the kids bring up a package and I was like, oh yeah, I need to put these with the rest. So see how I have 4 full bags of the DK left? We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 bins. We are good. Breathe, Rebecca. I tried to order enough yarn so I have a couple days extra just in case I really mess something up. But also when I was starting to plan, I wasn't sure if I was going to do 10 gram minis or 8 10 gram minis and 1 20 gram mini, which is what I am going to do this year. So breathe it out, Rebecca. But now I need to bring 3 bags of the sock yarn into each bin. I had too many to fit in one of these big bins, so I knew I had the sock all over the place. I just thought I had all the DK together. This ends up helping me both with yarn prep and is a visual reminder of how much I still have to dye. And then I have 6 bags left, which is good. Of course, I now need to decide if I'm going to do 125 minis, if I want to do 135 minis. And because I have enough there that I could partition, I think I have enough that I could partition 10 more into each. 6 times 25 is 150, and I would need 80 minis to add 10 more to each. I would need 120 minis to add 15 to each to bring it up to 140. Okay, because if I do 140, I mean, I have enough extras and things, so I could do that. I don't like having a number ending in 5. That's a little bit annoying. But 130, I've done more than 130 in the past. So I don't know what I'm going to do yet. But this is why the partitioning is important. Because, and I mean, things aren't arranged so I can close the boxes yet, but they close, I promise. If I decide I want to do 130 minis total, I'll add 5 more loose minis of the sock minis into each bin. And so I would do that now so that way I make sure that I dye the right number each night. And I could, if I have 13 skeins, I could dye 2 full skeins each night in the colorway, or I could do a prototype on just like 100 grams. So this gives options as well. I'm just debating. But no matter what, if I'm adding more minis to each of these bins, I'm going to order more of the platinum minis. I don't think they're in danger of going out of stock this year. Was that a 2020 problem? Oh my gosh, when there was a shortage of minis and that was super, super stressful. Oh man. So I think we'll be okay. I just want to make sure that I'm ready to go. And I have fun ideas for some of the dyeing already, but the inventory management is something that is really, really important. Because imagine if, say, I sold 300 sets before starting, which I'm not going to do that many. But if I did, and then the yarn was sold out, that would be awful because then I wouldn't be able to still deliver on my promise. Now, I could get a similar yarn base and make my own minis, but that takes even more time. And believe it or not, I used to make all of my own minis from the yarn. And I don't really do that anymore unless absolutely necessary, because it's worth, I think it's an extra $1 per 100 grams or so to get the mini skeins. That's kind of a no-brainer because it would take way more than $1 worth of time for me to make 10 gram minis out of 100 grams. But anyway, fingers crossed that the launch can happen soon. Also, I'm totally procrastinating in writing up and making drafts of all the listings to do this because, I mean, at least I'm doing something that's needed to do. I also the other day made a whole batch of charms. One of the charms that's going to be this year because, again, procrastinating, but at least I'm helping future Rebecca out a little bit. Okay, so that's 4, 5 minis, 4, 5 minis, and I'm going to keep going. And now lids on. And now these are stacked up out of sight on my Calyx unit. Ignore those. That has nothing to do with Chanukah at all. I don't actually love this stacked 4 high. I'll probably have to rearrange things so I can have them 3 high. I was going to put the bonus 20 gram skeins in here, but that's not going to really work because there's too many to fit in one of these buckets. I'll need 2, and to do that, I'm going to have to finish taking individual photos of all the SMSMS listings. I have so much fun shopping for different charms to turn into progress keepers. And I try to pick things that are Chanukah related when I can, although those tend to be fairly limited. And then after that, I go for things that are either sometimes science related because it's ChemKnitsy, things that are some of my favorite things, winter things. And well, we have a Triceratops skeleton I'm working on right here because my favorite book is Jurassic Park, and I suppose that those are my favorite movies as well. And the Triceratops is a very, very special dinosaur to our family. It's Ryder's favorite. And so here you can see me turning these into progress keepers. Here are the little charms I made during that time lapse. I always keep one out so that way I can try to be consistent with the direction that I have for the claw. Side note, I'm finally launching pre-orders in a couple of hours and I'm so nervous. And so if you're curious and want to know when I'm about to launch samplers or get notified as soon as the launches go live, you can follow me over on Patreon for free, even if you don't sign up to be a patron. And so then you get notified in your email with public posts. And so that's a way to be among the first to find out when something like pre-orders go up. Cross your fingers for me. Oh, hello. I'm prepping for my first video. So I launched earlier this week and I think things went pretty smoothly. My bonus yarns, which I don't think I've talked about here yet, but we sold out of the Sparkle DK really fast. So I have more of that on order. It's hard to predict what bonus yarn bases people will want the most. And so yeah, I do my best, but then I can order more and restock the pre-orders because again, I always have the yarn on hand when I'm working on it. But I'm doing little bundles of 10 mini skeins. And so I will count out 5, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10. And I'm not going to do it right now, but normally I do that for the whole bag. Before then I go and I start opening them up. What I do is I put one over my finger and leave the ends sort of hanging like that. I find that this works well and they don't end up getting tangled. And now, see, now I can open it up. And sometimes you have to like adjust as you do, but sometimes it works really easily. I grabbed 10 just randomly. I am close to finishing up one night's worth of minis and getting this all set up so that way I can pre-soak for the first round. And so I would say just the yarn prep can take a little while. It's why occasionally you might see me dye the minis directly. But there is a reason why you see me sort the minis and count the minis all out before starting. This way I know and I have a visual reminder of, okay, this is how many more nights I need to dye. Because once all this yarn is dyed and then twisted, it's gonna go straight back into the same containers. So that's how I do that. But yep, just hooking each one over my thumb. And then we get to this point and they just kind of pull apart, which I think is pretty nice. But I also am always cognizant of repetitive stress motions and things, coming back from a back injury last spring. So I try to divide things up on multiple different days and not save the same repetitive motions for all the same day. So therefore, like I do the twisting on multiple different days. I do the fiber prep on multiple different days, and I stagger it and mix it up. So that way I can be protected. I think I've just about finished. So about 11 minutes is what it took for me to prep 1 night's worth of yarn. And this isn't counting any full skeins or of any of the leave no dye behind skeins that I might need for one of these nights. But now it's all fluffy in the box, and it will technically fit in here. I would be able to put the lid on and close it as is. I might need to like rearrange it a little bit, but I am going to go pre-soak this. So I'm not snapping the lid on. Oh gosh, I don't know what I'm going to do first. I think I'm going to do like a full immersion, not quite anticipation style, but some space dyeing where I'm hoping the colors will spread out a bit. I think that's the first thing I'm going to dye up. And the videos for Chanukah don't always come out in the order that I film them. Often I will film them, give them like a letter designation. So whatever I dye first, that'll be called A. And then I try to put them in an order that makes a color story that makes sense. That's what I try to do anyway. All right, see you soon. I'm starting the first colorway and I'm doing a little time lapse right now, watching the color spread. The oxblood red is spreading way more than when I did this type of technique yesterday with 2 of the colors that are going to be in this colorway. So I didn't intend for this to be purple. We'll maybe see if it's purple, but this is why it's sometimes worth playing around with colors or new colors. And I'm really trying to use colors that aren't the ones I reach for over and over, which oxblood is one of the ones that I don't use as much, because then I can learn a little bit more about them. And well, we expected colors to spread, but last time they spread over maybe half the pan, but you can see where I added the color and then where we are. I'm quite perplexed because the Midnight Blue is the same dye I used yesterday in my project, and the colors did not spread this much. I'll try to pop a picture of that yarn up, but I think that all the yarn came up to the surface and is less distributed through, so then when I'm pouring the dyes on, it's really going beneath and therefore spreading everywhere, which is interesting. But we'll play around with the second batch and see what happens. Yep, this is the next batch, and the colors aren't spreading nearly as far because I had the yarn more distributed in the pan. So weird how things happen. Oh my gosh. And this is exactly why I say that there can be some variation from like sampler to sampler, because some people will get the first prototype, some will get this, and who knows what the next ones are going to end up with. What I'm getting here today is not as reproducible as what I've achieved other times. So I think that that's interesting. I also wonder if there's a difference with mini skeins versus full skeins, because the mini skeins really can spread a lot more, which could let the dye move through the container differently. Because, for example, these are 20-gram minis, but you can spread them really far apart, whereas the full skein you can spread, but it's a little more connected. So I don't know if that makes a difference. I'm currently working on the rainbow lasagna video, and I'm a little mad at myself for balking at adding green on top of the orange color we had on the first pan, as was the plan. The other colors blended together in such a pretty way that it was very obvious to do. And the second pan, going from, the yellow, green, blue, purple, each layer sort of built on the previous one. So it was easy to do. But since the yellow turned so orange and turned even more orange in the pan, going from that to green was hard. And I just mentally couldn't justify it because I was so nervous about creating something that I felt was ugly. And I know orange isn't everyone's cup of tea, but I didn't want to take the risk. So I am committed to doing something that is focused on just blending that orange and green, which actually, wait a minute, I've done that before. In this video, what was it? Dye Pop PS57. And I should probably pop it on the screen versus doing the screen record, but the green and the orange I blended. And so at like a 1-to-1 ratio, it gave us this really nice green. But I don't know how you feel about a colorway with that and then like some of the orange if it was both. And then that is a little bit more brown. So it's not ugly per se. I don't think that it's ugly. It's just different from just the warmth. And there was something so beautiful about the transition I thought we were getting. I think that it's going to be very, very orange and then golden. So we'll see. I think the red got overwhelmed. And I think that because the orange disappeared a little bit, I added more and more. And I think that may have overtaken things a little bit. But we'll see. We'll see. I haven't revealed the layers yet. But yeah, sometimes I second guess myself and I go forward with the plan because I was like, this is the plan. Whatever happens, happens. But for Chanukah, I didn't want to send something that I felt was that I would think was ugly. And so I just decided to not take the risk. And yeah, I'm having a little bit of self-doubt and nervous about that because I like taking risks, but I guess it's harder when I'm doing so much yarn. And I don't know. Let me know what you thought. This is the yarn mop from the video, and I just added the green on top of the other colors. And it's very pretty and fall, just different and a little muddier than the other colors were. The colors are so bright. This is the one that was on top last time. So again, I don't know, but I could dither a ton, right? My first attempt at the card didn't quite work. It snagged. And anyway, it drew the flames a little close to the menorah. Oh, I think this looks better. Yeah, you can see they're now sitting above. So hopefully it can do it. I mean, it is trying to cut what I drew, right? Oh man. Some are bound to fail. But fingers crossed. Okay, I'm now gonna try to peel it up one-handed. Oh, that's so cute. Isn't that cute? And it has the whole like imperfection thing that I was going for by drawing it by hand. Oh, that's adorable. Okay, I went for just the 1.0 marker versus the calligraphy marker this time. It's the same font I used a couple years ago, but that's actually pretty good. End up with this first card, there's a little bit of an Easter egg. Oh, but here it is. That is so cute. I could make this insert card a little bit bigger, but the loose fit is a little easier to deal with. And oh, I love it. I'm so happy. Now I just have to make like a million of them. I'm just wrapping minis, and something about this spot almost looks like it's been bleached. You know, it looks faded, and it's just the way the colors blended. And I think it's so cool. This is the night that made me a little nervous because the colors are so different. And part of me wished that I had planned to do 10-gram mini skeins versus the 20-gram minis, because then I could have given everyone one from the orange pan and one from the green pan and called it a day. But I think that doing a rainbowed speckled colorway will help tie this together. And so I'm feeling more confident now, especially seeing all the colors together. I think that they're all really beautiful. And even if it might be a little orange heavy, it's such a pretty orange that hopefully you guys love it and aren't disappointed when you see the color that you open up. Sometimes 3D printing goes really quickly, and other times it goes a little bit slower. You can see the nozzle. I don't know what that shape is that it's doing, but it's filling in the layer of our prototypes. Oh my gosh, I think it was doing the numbers. That's why it was moving so weird. Not looking so good. There are some variables that go into 3D printing, such as like the temperature and like the rate that the filament is extruded, and that affects the sizing of things. So yeah, we'll see when it says it's completely done. Although 80% done is making me think this is the last layer. We haven't used the printer in a little while, but it seems to do another layer. That 24, things aren't looking so good. They're not looking as crisp as normal. They're a little bit wavy. So maybe there's some more troubleshooting that needs to happen. Okay, those numbers look way better though, the 2025. We're working ahead a little bit, but we couldn't, with the font in Tinkercad, we could not get it to do a 2024 to save our lives. The 4 would not, it just couldn't handle it. So I had to make my own 4. It's not even a font, the 4 that's gonna be over there. Man, I redid the 4 and it just looks like a 9. That was after me making it wider. We've done multiple iterations now. Previously, there was even a clogged tip. That one actually does look like a 24 with it wider compared to the original 24, which very much also looked like a 9. I think that there just may have been some like string connecting it. Yeah, that also just doesn't look perfect. See, the 2025 is recognizable. I feel like I need to give a little bit more context. Every year I like to 3D print some Chanukah gelt for one of the Progress Keepers. And gelt is just chocolate coins. You can find many different varieties of them around Chanukah. And since there aren't a lot of Chanukah themed Progress Keepers that exist out there, I designed my own because we have a 3D printer upstairs. This year required a fair amount of troubleshooting, but we got something working in the end, even though I don't love the numbers as much as previous years. It's just I couldn't stop the 4 from looking like a 9. And yes, maybe there's already some vlog clips filmed for next year. Look at me working ahead. But anyway, let's dive back into the past as we look at more vlog clips. Mid-twisting, and I'm so excited because this is something I can do while the kids are playing video games with their friends. Stickers. I went with a new supplier for my stickers, and I decided to try something new. I had seen a sample, but I decided to try something new and do this holographic star overlay. Now, when I first unboxed this, I was so excited, and I didn't really see the sparkle. And so in the first batch, there was something wrong with the overlay, and that there were a lot that didn't sparkle and then some that sparkled a lot. And so the company was great. They did a reprint, and all of the reprint, except for maybe like 2, are sparkly. There is some variation. Some are very sparkly, some you have to work a little harder for it. But for all of them, you want to use either, say, a phone flash or direct sunlight to really see the sparkle. Otherwise, you might see a little bit more subtle iridescence. So if you're struggling to get it to work, try going in like a closet or something and turn on just your phone flash and play around with the angles and moving it relative to the light, and then you should start to see what you need to do to see it sparkle. And then when you're back in like natural light that is more sort of diffused, then you should start seeing it and noticing how to see that more. And so in the light of my office, you know, at some angles, you can see a little bit of the sparkle. This is one of the best ones. It's hard to see in indoor light. And so some of them, you may just see that star overlay. But see, then in sunlight, this is what you can expect to see. But I want to assure you that I have done some quality control. I sat outside in the sun, going through all the stickers one at a time, making sure that I could see some of that holographic sparkle, some of that rainbow sparkle. And so, yes, I take my sparkle, my holographic sparkle, very seriously. I don't think I'll necessarily order this effect again, just because there is some inconsistency. Some are like way more sparkly than others, but at least now they all sparkle. And so I will order just regular vinyl stickers from this company in the future. And they have charms that are like the best custom charms I've ever ordered. And so I'm so excited to scale up some of those orders in the future. And they have some other products that I'm really excited about playing around with for extras and things in the future. But anyway, I just want you to know that I take quality control really, really seriously. And so, yeah, the second batch just arrived today. And so I'm very, very glad that it's better than the first round. I'm realizing that Google failed me because it says the 8th night of Chanukah is the second, but that's the 8th day of Chanukah. The 8th night of Chanukah is the first. I don't know the order I'm going to have the videos in yet, and I still need to film the 8th one. But theme-wise, I knew, and I guess this is now the 8th night, the glazing project, I knew I wanted things to go the 31st and the 1st because I think I'm going to start this one saying, oh, I'm doing something completely new. And then it's going to start very similar to the previous video, even though it's a new year. And yeah, I don't know. I'm just planning to be a little silly there. And I need to figure out the colors and what I want to do for the other night, which who knows, the other night could end up being night 1, or it could be the 30th. I don't know quite the order. I'll have to put the yarn next to each other to see how I like the flow of it, because this one could be on the 30th and then go nicely into there. So we'll have to see. But what I realized is that everything is very repeating so far this year. And so this means that I can either lean into the repeatingness of it or do something more random for the last one that I film. And that's hard. It's hard because I don't often do things that are very repeating. And so it's fun to just see. I mean, one of the nights is more tonal, so that's not, and weird, so it's not necessarily repeating. But still, even my speckles have been very repeating so far. So, oh man, do I go for watercolor? Do I go for immersion speckles? Like immersion, like speckle splotch kind of thing that I love to do? I don't know. And color-wise, I don't know either. I mean, I know I don't do Chanukah to be a fade set. I do try to have some things make sense. And I think going from these random colors, because people are going to get a lot of things, into a rainbow sort of pulls the wildness of someone getting like a muted purple versus a red or yellow orange, then going into a rainbow that sort of connects things a little bit. And so otherwise, with the exception of the two that are more bright, we have some bright pops in those two, but otherwise things are fairly like muted, and I like it. I like it a lot. I just have to think about what I want to do for my last one. Maybe I should lean in and go super purple, but bring in some of the brown notes that we've had, because we've had some muddiness. And so if I brought in, I've done brown and purple before, but if I use a lot of like bluer purples and go all purpley, maybe that would be pretty fun. Let's just go for it, and then we'll figure out where it fits in later. I just realized that in this next video, I can't talk about how this is the only non-repeating colorway that I'm doing. I can't talk about it, and this is going to drive me crazy. So I can talk about it here in the vlog. The reason why I can't talk about it, because I don't want to say, hey, every other video going to come out this year is going to be repeating. I think that in my head, I thought that the 8th night was on the 2nd. And so if the 8th night is on the 2nd, then I'm like, okay, I have New Year's, and then I have one more video after that. But there are videos after New Year's. It's just those are the bonus ones. And so, oh, oh dear. All right, let's go have some fun, because I pulled a ton of colors. And at this point that you're watching this, you've already seen that video. So, well, you can go back and watch it. Yeah, I'm digging it. I'm digging it. Especially some of those green notes. Ooh. Sometimes I pull a colorway out of the spin dryer and I am just completely in love. I'm often in love with my colorways, but this one just makes my heart happy. Before I could start wrapping the mini skeins, I decided to both label and then preform the shape on some of these cardboard pillow box wrappings that I'm using this year. And I think that this is going to work really well because doing it more assembly line, stickers on everything, and then getting the sets ready for a batch and then filling that batch eventually, which I haven't started yet. I think that that's going to work so well and make things run nice and smoothly, and make sure I don't forget to, for example, add a progress keeper to one of the containers. Woohoo! Here are the 8 nights in the order that I dyed them. And I'm now going to try to arrange these so that way we have them in the order that I want to put them out. And there are a few things that I do know. I want these two, I can point with my feet, to be the last two because I want 20 New Year's Eve and New Year's Day. And the rest I don't really know, except for, I mean, in theory, I wanted rainbow speckles to come after the rainbow lasagna, but it could also go the other way. So, I'm going to go play around with this. What do I think about this? So I like having the fall resist next to the lasagna just because like those colors work. The question is, do I start here because the colors here can go into that, or do I flip this in some other way? I don't want to start with the rainbow speckles because that is similar to things I've done before. Because we could start with the lasagna and move this, but these pull colors in really well. So, you know, I wanted this rainbow one to be after lasagna. They don't have to touch though. Oh, this is hard. The only reason why it's hard is because I'm both thinking about a color progression that makes sense and when I want the videos to come out. And so that's hard. That's all. That's the only reason why it's hard. Okay, I'm gonna go think. This is me really overthinking because if I start with the resist dyeing, I had a resist colorway for Halloween, so maybe it shouldn't be first. Lasagna could be first. See, I think I like the lasagna following this because there's some colors like the oranges and the greens, which there are a lot of, will go through here. And so they connect with this and what's coming next. And the more blue and purple tones that we got from the lasagna can connect into the rainbow. Ooh. But you know, it doesn't have to be next to each other. Okay, I think this is going to be the order because everyone's going to start with something a little bit different. The rainbow, I mean, there's some other nights that vary things, but then it should, whoever gets whatever they get here, it should like not go badly with the next one. But then this one has notes that complement a lot of what's in here, but it also goes with this. And there's some brown notes which lead into brown, which lead into a little bit of brown, but a lot of purple. Purple, we got a lot of teal undertones. I mean, these two are similar but different. So, I mean, I'm now having a tiny bit of regret of my purple speckled colorway just because it feels similar, but those three really are different. These two are going to have a more repeating element to it. And so yes, while there's some notes here that sort of feel in here, they're different. But they work together too. So, and again, this is not intended as a fade set. I just like to try to order it in a way that works color-wise if I'm going to put it in an order. But yeah, the goal is more to feature 8 different types of techniques and to show what the yarns look like. That's my goal. And to show off 2 like super different muted types of colorways, but one is glazed and one isn't. Okay, here we go. And I even have labels. I wrote the letters on it and a description. So that way I can help myself make sure I don't mess up. So one of the next things I'm going to do now that I've put these yarn mops on top, night 5, the yarn mops are full skeins, but everyone else has at least a couple or maybe a lot of mops. And so I need to go I guess those will probably be the first things that I wrap, huh? This is why I keep records. And this is why I grouped them like this also, because these belong here. No yarn mops from this day. I'm almost done wrapping all the bonus minis. I did remember to keep one for myself for my own set, but I used, were these ones last year or 2 years ago? It was last year. I don't remember. These may have been last year. And so I used these bags to wrap, and then the same stickers that I'm using for our little main skeins, which I'm about to start wrapping. Eek! Well, here we have our full skeins in order. And I think it'll be really interesting when, it'll probably be in a couple weeks that I'll film some conclusions for this vlog with my DSLR versus filming like just the vlog clip on my phone. But I'm really interested in seeing, these full skeins all together next to the mini skeins all together. And that's just because, as I've shown in each of the videos where I show the mini skeins and the full skeins, because you get more twist in the minis, things look very different than they do it maybe in the full skeins. So when looking at the bundles of minis, these three looked super similar. Here they look more different. But of course, we also know that some of the full skeins came out very different from the way the mini skeins did. And so that's just also worth thinking about. There's a chance some of these full skeins, including some yarn mops, full skein yarn mops, are available in the Etsy shop right now. And yeah, you can go and check that out because it's a great way to support the channel. Here I am starting to wrap some of the mini skeins. This is a night where there will also be a progress keeper in there. And it was really easy to fill the pillow boxes, especially since I had folded the first fold before I went to do the minis assembly line style. I'm sure I'm going to forget to show this later, but for the bonus skeins, because of the new year, I have these mirror ball progress keepers, and there's a bunch of different sizes. And then I also have some like New Year's hats. I think this one's like a Happy New Year balloon, if I can flip it the right way. There we go. Happy New Year. So just some Happy New Year's fun little charms for the bonuses in case I forget to show that. Look how the packaging is shaping up. So here we have just a sampler alone. I did put tissue paper at the bottom of the box I know these will probably move around during shipping, but to at least make it easier for me to pack, because without it, they kind of just fumble all over the place and I can stand them up. And then here is one of the boxes with a bonus. I can actually fit a bonus in the smaller box, but sometimes they're in the slightly bigger box. And it makes me so happy. I love the alternating patterns here. I think that gives it just a really beautiful look. And I've been really happy with these pillow boxes. Hopefully, I think on some of them you can almost like see a tiny bit of a spoiler, but hopefully that won't be an issue. Hello. I am laying down, but I'm happy to say that I have made shipping labels for all of the pre-orders of the samplers today. And so I'm happy and therefore laying down and taking a break. Oh, this feels really good right now to just lay on the floor. I'm not done though. I still have some more samplers to pack up, but I'm sitting here in the middle of all the containers so that way I can easily just sort of pop them in. But I'm very, very happy that the last pre-orders I'll drop off at the post office tomorrow, but I'm really, really happy. It is the first week of December and I am editing. My goal is to have everything edited by the last day of school. We'll see how this goes. Oh my gosh, I thought I could show this as like a spoiler-free Chanukah image, and there's no way that I can. Actually, I suppose you wouldn't know that it's a lasagna. It's just me putting yarn in a steam pan, which could mean anything, but it also looks a lot like the beginning of a lasagna to me. so maybe I won't post it. Oh, this is where my great brain goes. This is just video 1. What? It's the 3rd. I said first week of December, but it's Tuesday the 3rd. So, wish me luck. New year, new Chanukah jammies. I'm about to finally film the intros and outros for the first 3 nights of Chanukah. And I think as I already mentioned in the vlog, I'm going to do it down here by the stairs. The light is way better and I don't have to trip over any boxes like I have upstairs. Ryder, what were you doing?
Well, like, it was going up. It was like at 9 minutes. Now it's at 7 minutes, which is such a relief. Like, yay!
Why is it a relief for you, honey?
Well, that means you'll be done soon, alright?
Yeah, but then I have to do a whole other video.
Well, it means you're done soon, you know.
Sure. In my original Chanukah jammies, woohoo! I am pleased to report that I finished editing all 10 dyeing videos of the Chanukah special by my birthday, which was Friday the 13th. And now it is the next Wednesday and I'm finally editing the vlog. But normally I'm still editing Chanukah in the middle of Chanukah. But since this year my kids will be on vacation for the entire duration of Chanukah, I want to be able to spend time with them and not spend time working, even though I'll be hanging out during the premieres and things like that. So I'm really, really glad that I pushed to get this done in advance of holiday break. I'm very, very proud of myself. But now you've seen the yarn, you've heard my stories, but let's take a final look at all of the colorways, minus the bonus full add-on skeins. I'll pop some pictures up right here. I've sold out of the yak blend. There are a few sparkle skeins left though that, well, they may still be left. At the time I'm filming this, I have a handful left. But let's go look at the minis and the extras and the packaging from this year all together. Let's unbox a sampler, at least most of the way. So when someone opens the package, they'll be greeted with the card that is signed by me. And then there is always a letter on a colored piece of paper. And the letter talks about the Chanukah special, where to find the videos, a little bit about the yarn, and what you might find in the samplers. Now this packaging you have seen already for the DK weight, but this is our fingering weight packaging. We have our sticker, a yarn label, a business card that does have a coupon code on it for January, which I'm showing here because if you've reached the end of the vlog, you deserve to see it. And then of course we have our sticker. And if I bring over my phone flash, then you can see that really pretty sparkle. We have the bonus skein, and this one is from night 2. I'm not actually going to open up any of the little packages, but then we have our little pillow boxes. So then here we have our 8 little pillow boxes. I don't think I showed off the pattern ones really well, but it's got this really cute pattern in either silver or gold. And again, they're all labeled with the night and the date, so that way you know when you can go and open it. This year, there are 4 progress keepers that come with the sampler, and those will be in the odd night containers. I don't remember if this is the order they came out in, but these are our progress keepers. We have the gelt with a little 24. The back of it has a dreidel. This I designed and 3D printed. You watched me make the little triceratops. For a science theme, we have these laser engraved wooden beakers. They have little measuring marks on them. And the fun thing is that it sort of gives like a little burnt and fire effect, thinking about the flames and everything for Chanukah and being ChemKnits themed. And then for our winter aspect this year, I have the snowflake decorated cookie, which I thought was really, really cute. I talked a little bit about the packaging this year, but one thing I don't think I've talked about yet is that I try to do different colors for fingering weight and DK. This makes it visually easy for me to confirm I'm sending the right yarn weight to the right customer. In theory, I could label each of the minis to say sock or DK on them, but that would still be harder to verify. And so if I can look and tell a clear difference between the colors, then that helps a lot. And here you can see a fingering set all laid out with the packaging and the yarn. There's going to be a lot of variation in the 20-gram yarn mop people have. And then there's also a lot of variation in nights 1, 4, and a couple of the others. I love the way that this year's colors turned out. And for one last first to me, here we have this year's yarn, and here we have the yarn from last year's Chanukah. Definitely not in order, but just to show how I do different things every year and I try to mix it up. You got to watch me unbox one of these samplers, and now you can watch me put it back together again. I almost forgot the card. Those may have been some of the only clips so far this vlog that I haven't filmed on my phone. Unless I filmed them on my phone. We'll see, but I have a feeling I'm going to want to use the nicer tripod. The tripods I use with the phone aren't great, but I don't film vlog stuff very often. Thank you so much for joining me for the 2024 ChemKnits Chanukah special. I've had so much fun dyeing this yarn and sharing all of these adventures with you. And I hope that you've enjoyed all of it, even the vlog. Please subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss a new video. We have so much fun content coming up in 2025. I can't believe it's 2025, even though I'm still filming this in 2024. But I'm so happy that we have so much fun coming up, and I don't want you to miss any of it. I've mentioned the Etsy shop a few times, so you can go get some hand-dyed yarn, Chanukah yarn, or others. But if you're looking for other ways to support the content here, you can join to become a channel member, which will give you access to the fun ChemKnits emotes. You can become a ChemKnits patron over on Patreon. I'll have links to everything down in the video description. I am Rebecca from ChemKnits. Happy Chanukah, Happy New Year, and thank you so much for watching.